Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we have a new or newly inspired, you'll see what I mean in a moment, palette from Melt. This is the Melt Cosmetics Dark Matter palette. This was inspired by the brand's first ever 4-shade stack. Now, if you have been involved with, a fan of, working in, adjacent to the beauty community for a while, you will remember the Melt stacks. They were, pretty little stacks of colors, and their very first one had 4 shades that have inspired this expanded dark matter palette. This is $58 and it is for sale right now, and I have it linked down below for your purchasing pleasure. We have 12 shades now, again inspired by that first 4-shade stack. Now, do I have my beloved? I really did love that first 4-shade stack. No, my goodness, this was long ago, before I ever had a channel. I was still working in journalism and editorial for beauty and fashion, but I did not have an actual YouTube channel. So I ended up tossing them after a few years. I mostly used a lot of them up and they've gotten old. So I wish I had it here to compare. Now I save everything, but I didn't have a crystal ball back then. Let's take a look at these in the palette first, in the pan. Let me just show you the beautiful, Melt has some, they're so artistic. And it's got a little bit of almost a pillowy feel, a pillowy, almost leathery feel to the case, but it closes really nicely. Perfect mirror inside. Here are the shades in the pan. We have these really pretty browns, bronzes, just kind of a whole plethora of chocolatey to kind of auburn and dark, super dark, kind of black shades that you can use even to line with. Really pretty. And my question will always be with these, how do these perform? Because when Melt first switched from their stacks to their palettes, and I don't know why I always repeat this, it's like I don't let them outlive this, and there's no reason for it. But originally I loved the stacks and I didn't love the palettes. But that seems to really be changing. And I love that this is kind of that first beloved stack, but now in 12-pan palette form. So we're going to try it on and recreate this look that I have here. And I will let you know a little bit of a spoiler alert, really, really nicely performing. Super, super nice. But first, let's take a look at these in studio lighting and in natural lighting. First here in studio, here they are on my arm laid out as you would see them in the palette. There's all 12 shades. And you can see for us neutral lovers, this is quite the exciting palette. And I do mean that. Some will say, oh, that's boring. I find boring very exciting, thank you. And now let's take them outside into the warm California sunshine. We are really heading into summer here. I always end up doing the weather report, but look at how pretty those shades look outside. Isn't that lovely? And now what is left to do is put these onto the eyes, and that is what we are going to do right now, so stand by. Being a big fan of the original stack, I have quite high expectations, and I love this color story. I really do. Plain Jane, maybe, but it makes me happy. Okay, let's go in with some rougher brushes. These shades all have names that will be on the screen. This is a rougher number 15, and let's just be a tad bit boring and mix these two right here. Lately I've mixed my shadows on my brush. It's kind of my new thing. Come along with me, why don't you? Does anyone else do this? I kind of like it. Okay, so I'm just mixing these two in order to get a nice shade to put all over the lid. And then same brush, no need for brush laundry, into this shade right here. And now we are just going in to define the crease a little bit in the same way that I love to use a bronzer often. Okay. And this is a little bit of a blushier colored bronzer type shade. And switching to a rougher number 28 into the same shade and running it under the eye. Sound like I'm calling a baseball game here or something. But too much animation, Rebecca. But I'm excited. I do like this palette. We have so many lovely browns and into kind of burnished, kind of auburny reds to go to. So let's use that same brush and go into this darkest one right there and just kind of darken up and raise the corner of my poor little tired hooded eyes. And you know, I have to tell you, I actually like that look on its own. I could just leave that be, but we do have some nice little sparkles in here, metallic shades, and it would be a pity not to use those. Okay, let's take this same brush, honestly, no need for brush laundry, and let's go in right here in this room. Ooh, that's so creamy. Ooh, this is performing, I think, very, very nicely. And so I am quite pleased, and I think that is looking very, very pretty in the inner corner. And let's stay in this kind of gold family there and just put a little bit of that right onto, kind of connecting it with that shade I did in the center of the eye and coming out. This is a little bit of a glitzier look, but I like it. Okay, and a little bit under the eyebrow to define it. And I used all of those shades. This reminds me kind of the brunette palette. You know, Melt can be very hit and miss, but something like this is incredibly useful. The case is nice. It's kind of got that little padded feel, and it feels really protective. And I think these shades are entirely workable. A very neutral palette, a little bit warm, it's true, but so many different neutrals like the brunette had, but you know, but slightly different and totally usable. And if you are a fan of Melt from way back and you, like me, remember that first stack, I think you will be impressed too. This is, for me, a reliable palette. This is not something that I would take out to show you if you came over. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't go, let's go look at the Melt Dark Matter palette. You'll be wowed. But if I come visit you on a plane, I'm bringing this and wearing this because it's just kind of all things to all people, I feel. It is an of the people palette. And Melt can be like that, and then Melt can be totally outer space and untouchable feeling. They can just be like, oh, Melt, what's that? But this, so usable and just beautiful. And I love the way that the shades performed. And I'm really pleased with that kind of chocolatey brown and golden look. I just think it works. I think it works really, really well. All right, tell me your thoughts down below. After all, that's what makes us a community. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. Hey, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. It's what keeps us growing. And don't forget, you can become a bigger part of this community by becoming a member of the channel or by giving super thanks. But honestly, to me, as long as you're here right now, I'm just thrilled to see you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.